The Galactic Council had made many mistakes in its 10,000-year history, but sending humans to Carveth might have been the worst one yet. Ambassador Zilthar of the Kravenian Collective stood before the holographic display, his four eyes blinking in asynchronous patterns, a sign of extreme distress among his species. The data streaming across the screen defied everything the galaxy's greatest xenobiologists understood about survivable conditions. Carveth was a Class 15 Deathworld, the highest classification. Even the Vorgathi, who had evolved in the sulfuric geysers of Terminus Prime, had declared it uninhabitable. The atmospheric pressure alone could crush most species' exoskeletons within seconds. The gravity was 2.3 times galactic standard. The wildlife consisted of apex predators that made the legendary razor beasts of Ondoria look like domesticated pets, yet there they were, humans walking across Carveth's crimson surface as if they were taking a leisurely stroll through a garden. Habitat impossible, Zilthar muttered, his translator struggling to convey the depth of his disbelief. Run the bioscans again. There must be an error. His assistant, a young Fenrathi named Kess, manipulated the controls with her nimble tendrils. Scans confirmed, Ambassador. The human expedition has been planet-side for 72 standard hours. Not only are they surviving, they're thriving. The Council had authorized the human exploration as a formality, a political gesture to welcome Earth into the galactic community. Humans were a young species, barely 3 centuries into their space age. They seemed fragile. No natural armor, no venom glands, no environmental resistances that the bioassessors could detect. The Council had expected to retrieve their bodies within hours and offer the appropriate condolences. Instead, the expedition leader, a woman named Commander Sarah Chen, was standing, knee-deep in what the locals called a crimson marsh, analyzing soil samples while something that resembled a 6-legged tiger with acid saliva circled her position. Zilthar watched in horror as the creature lunged. Chen didn't run. She didn't even flinch. With movements that seemed almost bored, she produced a handheld device and fired a single electromagnetic pulse. The predator dropped unconscious. Fascinating specimen, Chen's voice crackled through the comm system. Neurological structure suggests pack-hunting intelligence. We should bring one back for study. Commander Chen? Zilthar interrupted, his voice climbing several octaves. You were just attacked by a Carveth apex predator. Your biosigns show. Are you actually calm? There was a pause. When Chen responded, Zilthar could hear what humans called amusement in her tone. Ambassador, with all due respect, I've encountered worse during training exercises in Earth's Australian continent. At least this one didn't have venom. Australian continent. Zilthar made a mental note to have that region investigated immediately. Over the next week, the reports grew increasingly bizarre. The human team had established a base camp in what Council scientists had designated as the most geologically unstable region on the planet's surface. When asked why, the humans explained they wanted to study the tectonic activity up close. They seemed excited about the daily earthquakes. Dr. James Okafor, the expedition's biologist, had somehow befriended a pack of what the database classified as razor maws, creatures whose jaws could bite through reinforced steel. He'd done this by offering them ration bars and scratching them behind their auditory organs. They're just big puppies, he'd reported cheerfully. The breaking point came when specialist Marcus Torres requested permission to swim in one of Carveth's acidic oceans. The oceans that had dissolved a Kravenian probe ship in under 4 minutes. Absolutely not. Zilthar had practically screamed into the communicator. That water will disintegrate your biological tissue. It's only mildly acidic, sir, Torres had replied. About the same pH as vinegar. We have lakes more dangerous than this back home. I just need to wear basic protective gear. That's when Zilthar made his second mistake. He pulled up Earth's planetary classification in the galactic database, Class 12 Deathworld. His blood, such as it was, ran cold. Humans came from a Class 12 Deathworld. Their own planet was considered barely habitable by galactic standards. Earth had regular natural disasters, extreme weather variations, thousands of species capable of killing humans, microscopic organisms that caused devastating diseases, and an atmosphere that was technically corrosive to most galactic species due to its high oxygen content. Humans hadn't just survived their homeworld, they'd conquered it. And then they'd looked to the stars and wondered what else was out there. Zilthar pulled up the full xenobiological report on humanity, the one he'd skimmed during the council meeting. The details he'd dismissed as clerical errors now screamed at him from the screen. Endurance predator evolution. Capable of persistence hunting over extreme distances. Omnivorous consumption pattern allowing survival in nearly any environment. Remarkable adaptability to temperature variations. Psychological tendency toward curiosity overriding survival instincts. High pain tolerance. Rapid healing factor compared to most species. Pack bonding behavior extending even to other species. And there, buried in the psychological assessment, humans respond to dangerous situations with increased adrenaline production, which temporarily enhances physical capabilities and reduces pain sensitivity. They often described this state as thrilling or fun. They thought danger was fun. Zilthar watched as Commander Chen's team prepared for their final report. They'd spent 30 days on Karveth, a death sentence for any other species, and they were disappointed to be leaving. Several team members had already submitted requests to return for extended study. Ambassador, Chen's voice came through, that strange human smile evident even through audio. Karveth is an incredible environment. With some basic terraforming, nothing major, just stabilizing a few tectonic plates, this could be an excellent colony site. My team would volunteer for the settlement mission. Zilthar stared at the display, understanding dawning with terrible clarity. The galaxy hadn't discovered humanity. Humanity had been unleashed upon the galaxy. These creatures didn't just survive Deathworlds. They were drawn to them. They sought out danger, chaos, and impossibility, then called it a challenge. The Galactic Council had worried about finding humans a suitable place in galactic society. Now Zilthar realized the real question. How would galactic society survive humanity? Permission granted, Commander, he finally replied, already composing his report to the Council. They needed to revise their entire threat assessment system, not because humans were hostile, but because they were going to make every death world in the galaxy seem like vacation destinations. As the transmission ended, Zilthar heard one of the human team members in the background. Next, I want to try that Class 16 world in the Theta Quadrant. I heard it has acid rain and lightning storms. How cool would that be? Zilthar closed all four eyes and prayed to the Ancient Ones for patience. The galaxy, he realized, was in for one hell of a ride.